Here we are at Sapphire 39 for Lisa Ann's Backstage Convos. And today's guest, Jessie Lee, who I am so excited to see. You are back out and about. You are featuring. You are doing all the things that we all worried you wouldn't be able to do after your accident. So, Jessie, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to do it. I almost wasn't able to do today, but I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it. So, yeah.
So glad you could be here. And you've been doing you've done so many things in your career, but there's some exciting things that have recently surfaced. Let's talk about what it was like to be on Below Deck. First, I have to ask you, were you a fan of the show?
So I honestly had never even heard of the show. But I have a relationship with Cam 4, and it was like basically all Cam 4 models. So they asked me, you know, I've done like shows and stuff like that for Cam 4, and they asked me if I wanted to go to Australia for a show. I was like, okay, cool. So in order to do this, I had to cancel my browser scene. I had to cancel my Chicago Exotica trip, and then I had to drive from LA to San Diego to go get like a rush passport, expedited passport.
Oh no! Okay.
Because my passport like expired within 60 days or something. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot to get there, but after I got there, it was a lot of fun. So.
Was it your first trip to Australia?
It was, and that was like one of my bucket list also, just to like. Plus, we were in like the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, so
like
beautiful.
It was so pretty.
I mean, what a first trip to Australia to get to see the reef. And from California, it's an easy 16-hour flight, so it's not really that bad.
18 hours or something.
Okay.
Because I did LA to Sydney, and then Sydney to Cairns, and then on the way home I did Cairns to Brisbane, and then Brisbane to LA. Do you like how I pronounced it correctly?
You did. Brisbane. And
then Cairns. It's weird though, because it's spelled Kairns, but it's Cairns. So like, we're just gonna like completely omit 2 letters, you know.
For Below Deck, so did you pre-watch any episodes, or was this so last minute that you couldn't even go down the rabbit hole?
Well, I got told like 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
So I was told it was Below Deck Down Under. So I was like, oh, I'll just watch like the first season. So I was like watching it, and I like fell in love with some characters, and then I like hated some characters, and I'm like so happy that like the people returning was like the captain and Aisha and the party guy.
So you had a little bit of time to kind of survey Below Deck Down Under and decide maybe who you wanted to be on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to be myself. I actually asked them. I was like, hey, what am I not allowed to do on the show? They're like, oh, just be your authentic self. I was like, that's a thin line right there. So I actually I got in trouble for something that they didn't show on the show. So I get yelled at by the producers for doing something twice.
How can you get in trouble on Below Deck, Jessie Lee? Only you could do this. Please give us the details. Because we're not going to be able to see it when we watch the episodes.
I'm not going to say who, but one of the people, when we're on that island, and so we're on the island or whatever, and we're like having our picnic and stuff, where I was like, where I was collecting shells like topless, and Laura and Sky were like, doing something in the water, topless. So one of the people was like, hey, like I went to school for video and stuff like that. I can like film you guys. Like he was like, I can film you guys. I was like, really? I was like, you can film us like shooting content. He's like, absolutely. He was like, can you film me? And I had my Bad Dragons toy. I was like, are you allowed to film me playing with this on camera? He's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? He's like, absolutely. I was like, all right, let's fucking do it. So I went off the island, like trying
hold on, for anyone who maybe might not know Bad Dragon, she had a sex toy. So she showed a sex toy. And with that said, there was approval from the person you asked, so you went along. Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. I asked. I always ask. I'll never just assume. I always just ask. I guess I should just ask the producers, but it's fine. So we went off like a little away, and he wasn't even like right up on me. He was kind of just like, I actually have to like release that on my OnlyFans. I haven't released it yet, but he was like maybe 30 feet away, and he was like filming me on my phone, and like it was just me, like I wasn't even like spread. I was like doing it from behind, so it was like doggy with this toy, and I was like licking it and stuff like that, and I was like moaning, and then like everyone else was like kind of watching me from afar, because it was like we went behind these big rocks, but they like got around those. And they're like, and then I get in trouble, and they're like, Jessie, you cannot ask one of the crew members to film me. I was like, I asked. They're like, yeah, but you made him feel uncomfortable. I was like, all right, whatever.
Kind of volunteered. This film member kind of volunteered, if you ask me.
So then, like, I had to go on camera and be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry I did that, you know. So, like, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. I was like, it's cool. But, you know, I'm like friends with them now. So, like, you know, I'm sure if I asked him to do that now, he'd be like, yeah, absolutely. And get all, like, close and stuff, I'm sure. So
that's number one. This is number one, a bit of trouble that you got into while filming Below Deck Down Under. What did you do the second time?
So we were told that we're not allowed to give them gifts.
Okay.
So I had a bunch of these little magnets that were like me topless with like a banner over my nipples that say food porn. It's me like licking a donut. And I like gave it to every single crew member, like personally. So they're like, Jessie, you're not supposed to give gifts. You have to give it to us at the end, and we'll give it to them at the end. I was like, whatever. It's fine.
It's a very strange rule.
So that's what I got in trouble for.
But you still were this shining star of the episodes.
I know. One thing that they didn't show. Oh, I can't even talk about it. Never mind. I can't talk about it.
Oh, this is when someone says.
I'll tell you after. I'll tell
you
us
after. Now.
So I'm not going to tell you who, but so there's a part that they actually showed on the show with me like coming in my little leopard outfit, and they're like, Jessie, and then I like have like the butt plug like with it was like vibrating with like the tail. So you know, the chef Chef Zarina, she like felt it. She's like, oh, it vibrates. Like, yeah. And then someone that was also in that room took the butt plug that was vibrating and put it up to their face. I'm not gonna say who, but that's what happened. I was like, oh my god, they cut it. I was actually really like, when I saw that like start to show on the episode, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna show this, but they cut out like the best part.
Oh,
so.
But overall, it was a great experience for you.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
And did you get to see any other of Australia while we were there, or you just went and filmed and then flew back?
So this was last year May, when this happened. So like the whole like, you know, everyone had like, Australia is really, really strict on COVID.
Yep.
So we had to, in order to fly out of Australia, like if you're flying like within Australia, it's fine. But if you're flying like out of Australia, like to a different country, you have to get tested. It's like a 24-hour or 48-hour COVID test. So they brought 24 hours. So they brought like the doctors to the ship in Cairns. And Cairns is like this little like remote island, Great Barrier Reef. So it's like not really like near anything. So my test results for me and one other girl, Vanna, our test results didn't come back in time. So we got to Brisbane and we're stuck in Brisbane. Thankfully, my friend James also lives in Brisbane. So he took us to the koala sanctuary.
Oh, you got to go to Lone Pine.
I did.
It's one of my favorite sanctuaries in the world.
It was so great. Like I got to like pet kangaroos. I was like, this is
and
the
you can
greatest
feed
thing
them.
ever.
They give you those little bags of snacks, and then there's massive ones that are just like laying out. And then there's the little baby ones that come right up to you, and you can feed them and take selfies with them. They're so happy.
Yeah, they're like dogs. I was like, oh, I love
Did you get to hold a koala?
No, because I think it was because it was near the end of the day, because we got there pretty late.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after that, my friend James like took us out like around Brisbane and just like took us to some fruit. Because last time he was in LA, I took him and his girlfriend to the Magic Castle.
Okay.
So yeah,
fun spot.
So, yeah.
I love Brisbane. It's a really cute and quaint, beautiful place. People are super nice, but that Lone Pine is like my favorite. Every time I've gone there, I've gone back and I take the same photo. They have that thing when you first enter that says Lone Pine Sanctuary, and you can put your head through it, your hands through it, your feet show out the bottom. It's for children, so you really have to bend down to do it. But I do it every time just to document how many times I'd been there. But I love it there. And it kind of worked out for you that you got to stay a day.
Yeah. And the network like paid for my hotel and stuff like that, because it was like, it was because of them. And I got reimbursed for the COVID test and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I get a free day in friggin' Brisbane. Okay, cool.
How much do you think that's going to help you on the road feature dancing? Because it's another thing to add into your bio. It's another thing for the DJ to read when you go up on stage. I know when I was in the industry.
I need to add that into my bio now.
Yeah, you sure do.
I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I remember every single thing I did that I thought had value. I would just go and update my bio. I was constantly updating, printing out new bios, because that's a big one. Below Deck is huge.
And I kind of want to nominate myself for like the crossover for for like the mainstream crossover or whatever. But I
Well,
don't know
let's
how
get
to
this
do
done.
that. Jonah like kind of told me. I was like, I don't know. I was like, Jonah, will you do it for me? She's like, no. She's like, have Sandra from OC do it. I was like, oh. I was like, please, will you? She's like, no, just do this instead. I was like, okay, I guess I won't do it.
You have to get yourself in the running for that for sure.
Yeah.
And now you're back out feature dancing. How many gigs have you taken since you've recovered?
So this happened late February, so February 27th. This happened, and then
And when we say this happened, you mean your accident?
yeah, my accident happened. So it took all of March and all of April, like just like recovering, and then I did Lansing, Deja Vu in Lansing, Michigan, and then I did Sapphire Times Square back like late April, early May, and then I started my job at the Punk Rock Museum in Vegas on May 7th. So this is like my first time dancing since those gigs.
How happy were your fans to see you at those gigs
Oh, they
after
were-
us reading how harsh your accident was?
Yeah, it was like really great because like, as a feature dancer, you're always like afraid and always like nervous that like nobody's gonna show up and you're like just gonna dance to like a room of empty people or an empty room of no people
With all the
So-
girls lined up sitting in the back looking at
Yeah.
you, making you feel like they're looking at you like, this girl can't get anybody to come in here.
I'm like, why is she even paying all this money for no one to show up? But yeah, like the one in Times Square, like people like when I was in Times Square, like people like a bunch of people came and they brought me presents and they told me that like they're so happy I'm back. And then when I was in Lansing, I had people drive from friggin' Detroit to friggin' come see me, and it like made me feel so special. Like people came from like hours away, and it like made me feel special and loved. Like like sometimes you're in this business for so long that you like forget that like people actually care about you, and then like stuff like this happens, you're like, oh, people actually care about me.
Do.
So yeah.
What was your mental state like before you got back out onto the road for those first two bookings after that accident? I'm sure you were concerned that you were never going to be on camera again or
Yeah.
feature dancing again. How did you get yourself through that?
I mean, I still deal with it just because like my face is still not completely healed. Like when I smile and stuff, like I'll like look at old videos of myself like smiling and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that anymore. But yeah, like I was, when it first happened, my face was like, I like felt like the Elephant Man because it was all swollen and stuff like that. So it was like my face was huge. So I would always like cry about like how ugly I looked, and like I was like so happy with the way my face looked before the accident. So to go from like that to see like my face after the accident, it was like really hard to process. And even like now, like I still go through my days where it's like I have to like remind myself that like I'm still healing. So
Yeah, but I mean, it's a setback, and
Yeah.
it's a setback for someone. It'd be very different if you worked at an office, but this
Yeah.
is your face, and it's so hard to go back and have somebody maybe use an ad for you, and you see a photo, I'm sure, and you're like, oh, I remember like when my face looked like that. Like
Yeah.
that's constantly in your face. As a performer, as you working your OnlyFans, updating content, you're constantly reminded of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, like with me, like I haven't like I did like one solo thing on my OnlyFans. I like hadn't updated it for so long, and I made it free. So like I had like so many subscribers, so I just like posted like an 8-minute video of myself, and I was like, I'm still like insecure about that because I know I can't make the same faces, and I like like my pronunciation is different now. Like I can't pronounce some words, and I have a lisp and stuff, so it's like it's hard. But like with doing like anything like boy girl, like I wasn't able to do like because I tried to give a blowjob and it hurt. It hurt putting like even like putting a dildo in my mouth hurts so bad because my jaw's still like tight and it's not completely healed. So it's like it's really hard, and like that's what I would like. That's why I can't do any POV or anything like that, because it's like, well,
That
I
angle,
can't like
no.
because like I can't like put anything in my mouth, and it's like it's hard. So it's like it's taking some getting used to, and like I'm not very patient at all. So like having patience is a virtue, and I'm like, oh, fuck, man. So
They come to you a bit more
Yeah.
when you get older. I promise you that. But this is something really huge to overcome. And I think
Yeah.
you being out there and putting yourself out there again is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because your people want to see you. They love you as you are. You know what
Thank
I
you.
mean? And also the support for you of being like, oh my gosh, we're so glad to see you again, that you're out doing things. that's a good reminder for you. You need to consume that energy back.
Yeah.
Because you've been spending so much energy just looking at yourself in the mirror and being concerned about it and not knowing what's next. And I'm sure there was just a period of time for that first month where you were like, I don't know what's next.
Yeah, like I had no idea, and like thank God, like I had this job at the Punk Rock Museum. Like thank God, because it was like, yeah, it's not a lot of money, but it's salary, and it's got I have benefits and stuff like that. So it's good. It's a good like way to like it literally just covers like my bills. Like
It stabilizes you.
yeah, it's like a stable job though. So yeah, but it's like I'm like. I want to go back to filming so I can like make filming money, you know?
And then still live off of your money that you're making. So what are you doing at the Punk Rock Museum?
So
where is the museum? Tell us all about it. We all need to know because we all go to Vegas all the time and this is somewhere we're all going to want to go.
So you know where Little Darlings is on Western in Oki?
Of course, it's a landmark.
It's next door. It's next door to, yeah.
Okay,
Next
that's
door to
right
Little
there.
Darlings. Yeah.
And what do you have going on in there?
So Fat Mike is a good friend of mine. So he's the president of the museum. He's the one to like put it all together. He hired me as a brand ambassador and just doing like retail here and there. So for my first like few months there, I was just doing retail full time and like, you know, promoting. And now I threw like this really big party that made a lot of money. So now they're like letting me do more parties. So right now I'm like, yeah, I think I didn't have a title for a while, but I was calling myself an event planner and brand ambassador. But I think they're even calling me a brand promoter. So I like it to like promote the brand, go to parties and stuff like that, and do like arrange my own parties, which is like what I'm good at. So yeah.
And it's perfect. Now, did you have that gig lined up, and that's why you were moving to Vegas?
Yes. So this is what happened. So my accident happened on the 27th. So I was going to get a lock because my storage unit that I had wasn't open until like then it like closed at like 9 p.m. So like I had to get a lock to like to have my truck in my Henderson apartment, and then the next day I was gonna like unload it like into my storage unit. I was gonna have friends help me out. I had all of them like settled, and then like I was gonna go get tested, and then I had a scene for Brazzers on the 2nd, like a boy, girl. And then I was gonna, it was, fuck man, I'm so mad. It was with Van Wild. I love him. But yeah, and then the next day I was gonna start at the Punk Rock Museum, and it was like all planned out, and I had like all this like stuff, like all these like gigs and stuff like that. Like I just started doing Boy Girl again because I had like broken up my acts or whatever, and then this accident happened. I was like, oh, there goes everything that I had.
You've
planned.
made it, and look where you are right now. Like you're powering through. You look fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm floored at how incredible you've healed in such a short period of time. And also your spirit, like, you know, that's your vibe is still really, really high. And this had to be a setback emotionally. And I know that everybody
and mentally, absolutely. Yeah.
How did you get through it?
I just kind of just like pushed myself through, and it's like, it's kind of just like, it is what it is. Like, I just like, you know, I've just accepted it. Like, this is just my life now. Like, well, that's what it is. So yeah,
and that's what you have to do.
It's hard, man. It's hard though. It's hard to accept it because, I mean, like I said, there are some days where like my mental state is like not good, and I'm just like, fuck. I wish I like never got in an accident. I wish I like looked the way I looked. I wish I can smile again and like fucking give blowjobs again. Fuck, man.
And now you're venturing back into giving blowjobs. So you're going back to work for Brazzers. You have a scene coming up, and it's going to be your first scene.
Well, it's not Brazzers.
Okay,
it's just an OnlyFans scene that I'm going to do. So that's
a smart way to ease back in, right?
Yeah. So I like was talking to Joanna. I was like, hey, oh, I haven't like updated my profile a bunch, and I just like posted a video, an 8-minute video, and I made a ton of money like in 24 hours, like less than 24 hours. She's like, oh, you should totally do like Boy Girl. She's like, you should work at Flash Mechanic. I was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, I love Canadians. That's like, there's no hiding that I'm like obsessed with Canada. So, and like, yeah, I met him during Exotica Miami, and like we got along. And he's so hot. But he doesn't have like a huge dick, and like he'll be gentle. Like I told him, I was like, listen, I was like, I can't do anything aggressive like with my face because it fucking hurts. He's like, it's fine. We'll see what we can do. Yep. So yeah, so he's like a really good person to do like my comeback scene with.
And you're gonna do that exclusively for your OnlyFans?
Yes.
Which is even smarter than going working for somebody else. But it's also, you have the control that day to take it at the pace you want without feeling the guilt that you're holding up people in a location and they're all looking at you like, we need to get this day going because we're shooting 3 more scenes today. Like all the pressure you feel on set. So you just had a birthday.
I did.
How do you feel about it?
So every year in the past like 10 years, I've like thrown like a big like party, like I like a huge party. But this year I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do something small. So in the Punk Rock Museum we have a bar called the Triple Down, which is owned by Moss, who owns the Double Down, which is also in Vegas. And so I just like posted that I'll be there celebrating my birthday, and like a bunch of people came out. It was really great.
So it was easy.
Yeah, it was easy. I didn't really have to plan anything. There was no DJ. I didn't have to fucking DJ. I'm like, thank God. I don't want to DJ on my birthday.
Yeah, that's true. You DJ as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to DJ. I'm just really good at making playlists. So,
That's your thing. So if we're going on a road trip, I could be like, hey, Jessie, we've got this road trip. We're driving to Canada so you can find guys because you love Canadians. And you're going to make us a playlist. And you're going to be like, yes.
Absolutely.
I love that so, so much. When you're feature dancing, what is the one thing that like makes you the happiest, excites you the most when you're, other than of course we all love making money, but what is it that brings you joy when you get on that stage?
I think it's mostly I love seeing people's reactions. So that's why I don't like it when I'm dancing and like nobody, that's why I have that fear of like nobody showing up, because then it's like I feed off of people. Like that's just how I am. So if they're like really excited to see me, it makes me more excited to be on stage. But if they're like there's been times when I've like danced places and it's been full and like people that are in the front like fucking turn their back and they're not even watching me, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's
cool,
always a tough one, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all about the club too. Because sometimes clubs let the girls walk around and talk to the guys that are sitting at the stage. Which
Give
I
lap
find
dances
very
to guys
rude,
at the
okay?
stage. That's like stupid. That's like stupid etiquette 101. Like if a girl is dancing on the stage, you do not talk to, regardless if it's a feature or a normal girl. Like you do not fucking talk to guys at the stage. Like I worked at for a short time I worked at some club in Hollywood, and like it was like that's how it was. Like girls would literally
Vicious.
just like girls were really respectful. So if you even went up to a guy that even like kind of like near the stage, girls would be like, don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. So I was like, that was good. I mean, the club, I didn't make much money at the club because it was a Hollywood club, but yeah.
It makes a huge difference. I mean, it's
Yeah.
also like, it's so frustrating when you're up there. And in my younger years, in my 20s, it was one thing that would make me straight up get in a fist fight
Yeah,
with
like-
a house girl.
like,
I'd be the
have
feature and
some
I'd be like,
fucking
I'm going to
respect,
grab
man.
this girl by her fucking hair while she's dancing for the guy that's sitting at the stage, and we're going to get a fight right now in front of
Like
everybody.
the
That's
guy
what
would
I'm
be
doing.
like at the stage, like facing you, and then, or the guy will be his back to you, and the girl's like facing you, giving the guy a lap dance. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
There is etiquette in every business, and that's just an etiquette that like she wouldn't want you to be doing that while
Exactly.
she's on stage.
I mean, because the thing is, like, like most clubs, you're not on the stage all the time. You have like a certain performance and a certain set of songs. Like some clubs have like 50 plus girls working, so you might only dance once a night. So let that fucking girl enjoy her 2-3 songs. You know.
We wait in that dressing room for so long to go up. I mean, you're
Exactly.
just sitting in a hotel waiting to go to the club. You're like 12 hours in the hotel, 4 hours at the club. Like you really wait for that time that you get
Exactly.
to go. So
Exactly.
it means something. Do you have any tips for customers etiquette at strip clubs?
Obviously, stack up on ones.
Obviously, stack up on ones.
Obviously, don't aggressively touch girls,
Yeah. It's a
'Cause
no contact sport.
and not just men, women.
like women are the worst.
So here's the thing. Okay, when it comes to dancing at strip clubs around women, like so I only like dancing for women that are into women because they respect women.
And they're not doing it just because they're
So-
there with their guy friends or they're having fun and they're going to make
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
anytime there's like a bachelorette party and girls are like, oh, like they all have like boyfriends or husbands are, and they're like, oh, let's go to the strip club. Like they don't see us as people. They see us as fucking objects, and they treat us like we're objects.
Yep.
And it's fucking awful.
Yep.
So I worked at this club in like Massachusetts, and women would come in all the time, and they would be like really disrespectful and aggressive. So I was like, I would go nowhere near any woman
Yeah.
whatsoever. It was like, because it's like, and they're not even like giving you money. They're just
No, they're
treating
just
you like
there
you're
to make fun of you. They
Exactly.
are just really there. I had an incident years ago where I was dancing on a stage with some women like that, and a woman smacked my ass, and she smacked my ass so hard that I had a welt and a handprint of her bruise for like a week, which they don't realize affects us because now we can't go on set and shoot because you're going back to LA to shoot, right?
Yeah.
And now you've got a huge black and blue ass. But I sense that a lot too. And I always tell guys, like, be patient with the interaction. If you're doing a dance with a girl, she'll let you know how close you can get. But right away, just groping and licking someone's face, like all of those things. Don't do that, guys.
Or ask. Always ask. Be like, oh, is it okay if I do this? I'm
Yes.
like when I'm doing a lap dance, like I like hands on my butt and stuff like that because I like to feel close. So when guys don't have their hands anywhere, I was like you can touch my butt. A lot of times I would have to give lap dances and I would have to give the disclaimer. I was like, listen, you can touch here, and I would like touch my butt. I was like, you can touch my butt, but you can't touch my boobs, you can't touch my face, you can't touch my hair, and I don't want your mouth anywhere in my body. So
Have you
that
ever
includes
been
kissing.
licked by accident? Like, have you ever had a guy lick you?
Yeah,
Or kiss
it's
you?
fucking disgusting.
I know
'Cause
exactly.
the thing about it also, like, I hate being licked by literally anyone. I hate being licked, even by people that I know. So the thing is, like, once someone licks you, like, there's this guy in New York City who would always like lick me every time every time I said hi to him, give him a hug, he would like lick my neck. I was like, what are you doing? Because then you smell like his fucking saliva all night.
All night,
and
you
you're
want to
like,
burn that part of your skin off your body.
You just want to take like hand sanitizer, like
I know.
douse your entire body.
That is not good. So please have some manners and be patient. It's not a petting zoo, and ask permission for everything at the club. And please make sure you bring your ones. And we love ladies at the club that are into it and enjoy the entertainers and don't look at it as some sort of a freak show.
Yes.
That they treat us like a circus almost, right? And
Yes.
just don't do that. If you're coming in for this, don't do that. You're starting to shoot again. Your OnlyFans and your social media. Where could everybody find you, Jessie Lee?
So my Instagram is Jessie X Lee. My Twitter is OMG It's Jessie Lee, and then my OnlyFans is also OMG It's Jessie Lee. But you can also go to ilovejessielee.com and you'll see everything.
So all your links are at ilovejessielee.com. Jessie, it is so great to have you back in our
Thank
space and that you're vibrant and beautiful. And I know to you, there's still days you don't feel great, but you look incredible.
Thank
and
you.
You're like, the rapper that gets shot 10 times and still's rolling around. You're like 50 Cent right now. Like, you've been in a ton of accidents and you are fine.
I'm like Kanye because he went through it through the wire.
That's right. You're right. Through the wire.
My mouth was wired shut for 7 weeks. So I get it. Everything that he talked about, I went through that.
Did you watch his Netflix or I forget what network it was on, but he has a doc. You got to watch it.
I'm going to watch it at the hotel
Yeah,
tomorrow.
watch it because it's something that he put together over all the years he's ever been in music. He was recording, he was having people travel with him. Like when he was young, his mom's really in it. Like it's beautiful. You'll find where it is. I'll find it for you. But Jessie Lee, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
here
you.
today. Right here at Sapphire 39. Now you remember that there's sapphires everywhere. There's quite a few in New York City. There's an epic sapphire in Las Vegas that has a pool for the summer. If you're a fantasy football league commissioner, you might want to have your draft there next year. They turn all the cabanas into draft stations. And at Sapphire 39 New York City, I watch every Thursday night game with all of my fans, and it's a ton of fun. So we hope to see you there. Jessie Lee, thanks for joining.
Thank
Lisa
you.
Ann's Backstage Convos.